man, can a game just ever not be stressful, please? You go through this entire game. Okay, maybe the first couple of innings by Vince Velasquez were a little stressful, even though he did manage to get out of those. Majority of the game, not stressful, but then you got to go in that 8th and 9th inning with the most stressful possibilities with the Brewers getting bases loaded in both innings. Come on. But hey, we got the win. We got the win, and that's all that matters. I'm like, thank God they won after what happened yesterday, man. Definitely not my best piece of work, but hey, it is what it is at this point. But still, thank God they got the win tonight, and they don't go a 3-game losing streak at this point, because this is the win they definitely needed. And for some reason, they like to win with weird lineups. I just don't understand it. You don't have Reese or McCutchen in this game to start off. They eventually came into the game later because Matt Joyce, for some reason, wanted to argue balls and strikes. The guy was pissed off for some reason. Even though, yeah, the umpire's strike zone definitely was very questionable. And the Phillies, for some reason, which is also understandable, they really don't like umpires this year. And you could say that for the entire league. But the Phillies specifically just don't like umpiring this year. So Matt Joyce was, for some reason, so mad. I mean, I can understand it definitely could have been a questionable call on that strike, but still, it's like, don't argue in that situation. You just don't, because I understand you brought Kutch and Hoskins back into the game, so technically you did have someone to replace Matt Joyce with, but just don't argue. I don't think you're in the right position to argue. Come on, man, you're a bench player, Matt Joyce. The umpire's not going to listen to anything you say. But anyway. Man, stressfulness. And like I said, the Phillies really like winning with weird lineups because you don't have Reese, you don't have Kutch, you don't have Harper, and I really hope this wrist situation doesn't become long-term. I just really hope it does not, because last night he looked really uncomfortable swinging the bat, especially late in the game, and hopefully this doesn't turn into a long-term situation for Bryce Harper, because this team desperately needs Bryce Harper with the way that he has been swinging the bat this season. They just cannot afford to lose him because the offense made majority quiet. Thank God the pitching technically stepped up today and they scored runs when they had to early on in the ball game. The Phillies got their only runs in the first 2 innings, so not much offense the rest of the game. But basically summarize of that entire thing, they need Bryce Harper. They do. And they cannot afford him to lose him for long term. They just can't. And I think today, too, Alvarado accepted they got the suspension down to 2 games. So he wasn't in this game. And tomorrow, I'm assuming it'll be the second game of his suspension. So he's only going to miss 2 games in this series. Even though I'm not even going to get into the details of that suspension. But they came to an agreement. He pushed it down to 2 games. And he's going to serve those 2 games. So not a big deal there, I would say. But, yeah, just going into the game. Early on, you're expecting a Vince Velasquez start to be like it typically is. Maybe he has 1 good inning to maybe showcase something. Oh, maybe this is going to be a good start from Vince Velasquez. And then the train wreck comes later in the ballgame, where he doesn't survive past maybe 4 or 5 innings. He allows at least 3, 4, 5 runs, and he puts his team in a terrible situation. Maybe the offense doesn't do much for him either. But hey, as much as I don't like Vince Velasquez, this game, I will give him credit. I will give him credit because he actually went 6 innings in this ballgame. He actually pitched pretty decently. I'll give credit where credit is due to Vince Velasquez. Is it going to be long-term credit? No, because I really don't expect Vince Velasquez to keep this up for a successful stretch of time. Because it's just Vince Velasquez, and his track record shows that he's not capable of doing that consistently. He's not capable of going 6 innings consistently. He's not capable of getting past 5. He's not capable of allowing only run consistently. So it's much of a pattern here, and today he broke the pattern, thankfully, because the Phillies desperately needed something like this from a 4-4-5 starter, and Vince Velasquez, surprisingly, was the first guy before Matt Moore or Chase Anderson to go 6 innings. So that also showcases the other problem that the Phillies have with the bottom part of the rotation. And it's weird, too, because the Phillies really have been struggling in Zach Wheeler, Eflin, and Noah starts recently, and they have been winning majority of the starts recently with Chase Anderson on the mound, and I'm not even sure with Vince Velasquez. I think they did win the last one with Vince Velasquez on the mound. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think they did, but it's just weird. I think that's the one word I'm just trying to describe it with. Weird. And we all know this team. They're just not that good. This team is not that good. We all know the major problems with this team. They have a lot of it. We all know the situation with Andrew McCutchen, but it's why he got benched today. Made more defensive mistakes last night in the ball game was the reason why he got benched. For some reason, he just forgot of the field, and the batting average is just not good for a leadoff hitter. It just isn't. So you have a problem in left field. We all know the situation in center field. Roman Quinn, Mickey Moniak, Odubel Herrera, nothing's being solved there. Even though for somehow, in some way, Roman Quinn has actually been productive the past 2 days, even though I don't expect him to keep that up. But you know that problem in center field. It's probably the most obvious one. And there have been some talks about when Gene Segura comes back, because he's going to be going for a minor league stint for a couple of games just to get healthy again and get back into game shape, that Joe Girardi actually maybe put out there that you see Nick Maton get some reps in center field when Gene Segura comes back, because you know Gene is going to be automatically placed back at second base. So with the way Nick Maton has been swinging the bat, you cannot send that kid down. So it looks like they are going to give him a chance in center field, even though Nick Maton's track record, he has not played center field much or outfield much in his career. He's basically been an infielder. So that's really going to be an interesting situation. Is he going to turn into a majority of what Scott Kingery maybe is, that utility guy, to where he can play throughout the field? He can play all the infield positions. He can play in the outfield. Maybe that's what they're going to try to turn Nick Maton in, a better version of Scott Kingery. Because Nick Maton, yes, has been swinging the bat, and he plays really good defense. So maybe he's the center fielder we've been looking for. But they're going to be trying. They are definitely going to be trying. So to finally get into the game, the game starts off, a couple batters in, Lorenzo King comes up, he hits an absolute bomb to left center field. It goes on to Ashburn Alley. I think that it had to be at least, over 440, over 450 at that point. Ball was crushed. It was an absolute moonshot. And the Brewers go up 1-0. But if you want to talk about another moonshot, Brad Miller gets on base, in comes JT Realmuto, and this man sends the ball to the moon. To the literal moon, to left field, and it lands into the second deck. You really don't see balls going to the second deck in left field at Citizens Bank Park often. So, really a gigantic moonshot for JT Realmuto to make it a 2-1 Phillies lead. And the Phillies tack on more runs in the second inning. Odubel Herrera, he gets on with a throwing error, which brings him over to second base. And Roman Quinn, actually being productive, gets a triple, and he scores Herrera. Makes it 3-1. And then Vince Velasquez chipping into the offense. He gets an RBI ground out, and he makes it 4-1. And basically, the midway through the game, going through the third, all the way up until the eighth inning, pretty much quiet. Vince Velasquez, first, second, and third inning, he did allow a couple of base runners, but he managed to get out of those situations. Fourth, fifth, and sixth inning for Vince Velasquez, all 1-2-3s. Pretty solid on the second half of his performance, so that's where I'm definitely going to give majority of the credit to Vince Velasquez. Kind of allowed a couple of base runners beginning on, but second half of his performance, got 9 straight outs. That's probably the best you can ask for out of Vince Velasquez, and he gave you the best. Phillies hitters, with the lineup, you really don't expect them to do much, and hey, they got 4 runs in the first 2 innings, so maybe the pitching, you go into the bullpen, maybe the bullpen can settle things down. 7th inning, bullpen comes in, it was Coonrod, and he got the 7th inning out of the way. But then you go into the 8th inning, and that's where all the craziness starts. Brogdon comes in for the 8th inning. You can see it start the torrential downpour, and maybe you could have considered the situation of putting the tarp on just because of how bad it was raining, but the weather, it was just so weird today. The forecast was supposed to rain, but all the rain was just not in South Philadelphia. It landed in South Philadelphia for maybe 5-10 minute stretch, but all of the rain was just on the Center City area, the north part of Philadelphia. So the Phillies really didn't see that much rain, so thankfully they were able to get this game in tonight. But the rain really came down hard in that 8th inning, and maybe it was affecting Connor Brogdon a little bit because he wasn't getting batters out. allowed the bases loaded, and it really just wasn't pretty at all. And also in that 7th inning, before I get more into the 8th inning, that's when Matt Joyce got ejected, and that's when Rhys Hoskins and Andrew McCutchen came into the ball game to, replace for Matt Joyce. But Connor Brogdon comes in. Colton Wong starts out with a walk, walks Lorenzo Cain. Christian Yelich, he hard-ass line drive to Didi Gregorius. It could have been a double play, but the ball was just hit so hard, popped out of Didi's glove, and he just wasn't able to do anything with that. So you get bases loaded, and then Travis Shaw comes up, gets a sac fly, makes it 4-2. Another mound visit comes in, and then Joe Girardi elects to go to Hector Neris to get the 5-out save in this ball game. And at first, it doesn't really help because Avisel Garcia, it could have been a double play, but the ball was just of course in this situation, the ball was hit as soft as possible to where Didi Gregorius wasn't able to turn a double play. He was only able to get the force out at second, and then it also allowed the runner to score from third base to make it a 4-3 game. And then, thankfully, Hector Neris, with the quick feet on the mound, picks off Garcia at first base, and he gets out of the inning. So, no harm, nothing there, I guess. So you go into the 8th inning, 4-3 Phillies lead. Phillies really don't do much in the 8th inning. Didi Gregorius does get on with a double. Alec Boehm eventually strikes out, so you can't bring in Didi home just to get that insurance run. And then this is where we start the crazy 9th inning, the crazy, just stress-filled 9th inning, because you got Vogelbach out for the Brewers, and Hector Neris is ahead in the count, throwing splitters. He's way ahead of them. He's way over top of them. And then for some reason, Hector Neris decides to throw him a meatball. And then he takes advantage of that, and he hits a double down the left field line. What was that thought process? You were getting ahead in the count. You were using the splitter effectively, and he couldn't do anything to the splitter. Why are you giving him a pitch to hit? So he allows a double. Then Hector Neris gets the next out, strikes out Urias, and then gets the second out of the inning. So you got 2 outs, and you got a runner on second base. But then Hector Neris walks the next batter, and then Colton Wong gets an infield single. So you got bases loaded for the final out in Lorenzo Cain. And both of those last 2 batters before Cain, you got McKinney, you got Wong. Those guys battled. Those guys, McKinney drew it to a 3-2 count when Hector Neris was ahead of it, fouled balls off, and he worked out the walk. Same thing with Colton Wong. He fouled so many pitches off and then worked out an infield single. So you got bases loaded, Lorenzo Cain. Hector Neris gets ahead in the count, and thankfully, Lorenzo Cain was not able to check up on this swing. Thank God. It was one of those swings where the umpire saw it. He didn't have to go for the other umpires on the corner, and he called them out. So that's how your game ends. Stressful as it is. Man, thank God they won this one. Thank God. So I don't have to overreact with my emotions like last night. And like I said last night, definitely was not my best line of work. So basically, like I said, it is what it is at that point. All you can look back at is lap, but thank God they got the win. And if we look at the pitching staff for today, Velasquez, like I said, credit where credit is due. He pitches 6 full innings, allows 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and the only run was to the Lorenzo Cain bomb. So like I said, credit where credit is due, but I do not expect him, and none of us expect him to keep that up consistently. This is probably going to be Vince Velasquez's best start of the season. So, I guess cherish it while you can until his next start, because this is probably going to be his best one of the season. Coonrod comes in for the 7th, does his job, strikes out the side. Brogdon struggled, only pitched a third of the inning, allowed 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 2 walks. Those 2 earned runs were charged to him when Neris was on the mound because he did allow those base runners. Neris comes in, he pitched the final 5 outs, allowed 2 hits, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. So, bullpen, besides Connor Brogdon today, did a decent job of shutting down the Bruins. Hector Neris made it got a little ugly, but he managed to seal the deal. We'll go to the lineup. Matt Joyce, not a good night for him. He was 0 for 4 in the box, and he got ejected from this ballgame. Brad Miller goes 1 for 3. JT Realmuto goes 1 for 4 with the 2-run shot. Didi Gregorius goes 2 for 3, a nice day at the box for him. Alec Boehm goes 0 for 4 after going 3 for 4 last night, so just hopefully he can just find a way to get to maybe like a couple of 1-hit, 2-hit games here and there. Because sometimes you do see that Alec Bohm game where he does get multi-hits, like 2-3 hits, and then he'll have that stretch of games where he strikes out a lot. He doesn't get many hits. So he needs just to find a way. And I do expect the Alec Bohm hot streak to happen eventually. I do. I have that faith. I'm not worried about him. He just needs to find his place at the plate right now. He needs to readjust. And I feel like it's eventually going to happen. So right now, he went over 4 tonight. Nick Maton goes over 3 tonight. Odubel Herrera goes 1 for 3. Roman Quinn goes 1 for 3. And Vince Velasquez goes 0 for 2, but he got the RBI on the ground out. So the Phillies take the first game of the series with the Milwaukee Brewers, thankfully, because this was going to be a really tough series for the Phillies because the Brewers are a really good team. They are a team with really good pitching, really good bats. So thankfully, they found a way to win this game. And for tomorrow's game, you got Nola on the mound tomorrow. You got Laura on the mound for the Brewers. So Nola, we need a better performance than he had last against the Cardinals. Even though I don't entirely blame that game on Nola, just need a better performance. We definitely need him to go at least 7 innings tomorrow. So Nola, it's going to be a huge thing for him tomorrow. He needs to go at, like I said, at least 7 innings to at least rest his bullpen a little bit. Then we got on Wednesday, got Anderson on the mound going up against Peralta. And then I would assume it would be Zach Wheeler on Thursday for the matinee of this series. Yeah, it is Zach Wheeler going up against Brandon Woodruff. Man, that's going to be a good pitching matchup. And I think I'm going to that game on Thursday. So hopefully it's a pitching duel, or just not a pitching duel for Brandon Woodruff. But yeah, definitely going to be a tough schedule for the Phillies. If you can get 2 wins out of this series against the Brewers, I know because the Brewers are on a different level than the Phillies. I find the Brewers to be a better team than the Phillies. So if you can find a way to get 2 wins out of this series, I'll be fine with that. But it kind of also sucks too because you lost the series to the Mets. So it kind of goes in that situation where you would think the Phillies would be 3 games mandatory. I kind of do think they also need to win 3 games, but I also accept at least 2 wins in this series because the Brewers are I feel like they're on a different level than the Phillies. I feel like they are a completely better team than the Phillies. So that's where I stand on that. And if you get 2 wins in the series, I'll be completely fine. But like I said, hopefully Bryce Harper isn't out for long term because that's going to hurt us. Hopefully. I just don't want it to happen. I don't. So Phillies get the win today. And let's just be positive for the rest of the night. So what are your guys' thoughts on this video? What are your guys' thoughts on this Phillies win, Vince Velasquez's performance, and JT Realmuto's absolute moonshot? So don't forget to leave your comments down in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to drop a like on this video. Don't forget to check out the panel lines, which I am a part of. Their links will be in the description below. Don't forget to check out the links to the Florida Podcast merchandise website. And also for Flyers Nitty Gritty, they will be down in the description below as well. And just don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, everyone. And I will see you next time.